why it's showing that screen. That's not what I have.
Well, you have to stop, go back to unshare, yeah, turn the sharing off. No,
Whoop.
not that one. Stop. It did that to Hillary this morning. It's coming. There it goes. That's cool. There you go.
So you got a bonus handout tonight. I'll get to use my pointer that Alexis got me. Yeah. All right, so I'll be going back and forth to the map, point stuff out. The map that you have in your hand here is the same map I have up there, so we'll be able to, I just wanted to point a few things out up there, so it'd be easier to just have it up there. And then I've got another map I'll show you. So last month, Moses had sent the 12 spies into the Promised Land, and the 12 spies, 10 came back, had the bad report, 2 had the good report. We're familiar with that. It's from that point forward that God tells Moses it's time to leave, and they spend roughly 37, 38 years wandering around, waiting for that generation of adults that was alive at the time that they went into the land to die off. So we've kind of gotten to that point as we pick up here. So from last month to this month, we've covered 37 years. Now, there is some stuff spelled out in what's happened during those years, but we're not necessarily going to cover all those. It's impossible to continue with the progression we're doing here to spend a lot of time on every event. But we are fast forwarding now to this 40th year since they have left, the children of Israel have left Egypt. So again, God had told Moses that no one above the age of 20 that was alive when the spies came back with their bad report was going to enter the Promised Land. And so again, for 38 years or so, they wander around until that whole mess of adults die, Moses being the last of that group to die, before Joshua takes them into the Promised Land, which we will pick up with that next month. All right? So we're going to cover the 40th year, and the events that took place during this wandering in the 40th year before they go in to the Promised Land. Everybody okay? All right. So I want to make a couple of points here. With my pointer. Now, this map does show the entirety, roughly, of the wanderings. Now, again, as I had mentioned in previous lessons, I believe that they crossed the Red Sea somewhere in here and went to the land of Midian. I'm not going to stand on that and die on that hill. I just want you to be reminded that I believe they had crossed and went into Midian when they crossed the Red Sea. It doesn't show it on this map, but this is the map I chose to use because finding maps for presentations, Bible maps for presentations, is nearly impossible to find what you want in something that's going to show what you want to show in a format that's going to present. So anyway, but as you see here, they do wander and they go to Kadesh Barnea. Now, the present day Israel, the boundary between Egypt and Israel is roughly right through here. From the tip of the Gulf of Aqaba up past Kadesh Barnea to the Mediterranean Sea. In the day that this took place, this was not part of Israel. Okay? But understand, they went to Kadesh Barnea, that's where they went into the Promised Land, and then God banished them into the wilderness around here for 40 years. So what we're going to do today is leave Kadesh Barnea, circle around and wander around. We're going to come to Ezion Geber, and we're going to go up through Edom and Moab and Ammon, which we will talk about at length here in a moment. So this is the area with this green here being Egypt and the Nile Delta. And we are here, this being the very northern tip of the Gulf of Aqaba. Sorry, I never have learned how to pronounce that. This being the Dead Sea. This being the boundary between present-day Israel and present-day Jordan. Okay? Now, on the... Oh, shoot, I don't have it with me. I'm trying to lay a base work here before we get started. On the back of the one handout that doesn't have the map, explains who the Edomites are, the Moabites, and the Ammonites. So Edom, they were descendants of Esau, which was Jacob's brother. And they had land roughly from the northern tip of the Gulf of Aqaba and to this area right in here. So they would cross the boundary, and this would be where the Edomites lived, in this area in modern-day Jordan. North of that would be the Moabites. And they were descendants, the Moabites were descendants of Lot, that he had children with his daughters when he had an incestuous relationship after Lot was rescued from Sodom and Gomorrah. That became the Edomites, or the Moabites, and the Ammonites, which lived north of the Edomites. No, the Moabites. Sorry, I'm getting them backward. That's why I printed it out for you, so if I stutter, you'll understand. But understand, the Edomites were cousins to the Hebrews, all right? Because they were descendants of Jacob's brother, or Isaac's brother, Esau, okay? And that is all, those areas, the Edomites, the Moabites, and the Ammonites are all in what we have as present-day Jordan, and perhaps, I'm not for sure where the line is for Saudi Arabia, but on this eastern side of the line from the Dead Sea, from the Jordan River down the Red Sea down to this Gulf that I can't pronounce. All right. Everybody okay so far? I'm laying this groundwork so we kind of understand where we're at. The handout you have with the map kind of gives the travels that the Hebrews done. Now, it only shows 18 stops, but understand that this is kind of giving you an overview of the travels that the Hebrews took on the way to Jericho. Understand also that the book of Numbers, chapter 33, lists all of the stops that the Hebrews did between Egypt and Jericho. So if you want to go over Numbers 33 on your leisure, have at it. So, all right. I got a baseline set. So we are now in the year from creation, 2552 or 1452 BC. This is where we're at this time. This is the first month of the 40th year after they had left Egypt. And the Hebrews camped near Eleazar Geber, which again I pointed is at the very northern tip of that gulf that I can't pronounce. All right? In the coming months in this same year, Miriam, Aaron, and Moses will die. Again, this is the last year before they begin the process of going into the promised land. And again, I want to reiterate the fact that no adult 20 years old and older at the time they were at Kadesh Barnea were going to be allowed to go into the promised land. They were all going to die. And it took 40 years for that, or 37, 38 years for that to die, Moses being the last. Okay? I may repeat that as I go, but I want us to understand that that was the reason for the wanderings for 37 years. Okay? So, let's turn to the book of Numbers chapter 20. We're going to read here a few verses about what's happening here. So if you remember at one point, the people after they had left Egypt, the people complained that they didn't have any water to drink, and God provided water to them in the desert at Meribah, I think is the name of the area. But now they are complaining again that they don't have water. And as I read here in the second paragraph, they complained to Moses and Aaron about the lack of water. God commands them to call water out of the rock simply by speaking to it. That was the command God gave Moses. Speak to the rock and water will come forth. In frustration towards the people, Moses struck the rock with his rod. And because of this, God would not allow Moses to enter the promised land. Let's read this story in Numbers chapter 20, 1 through 13. Then came the children of Israel, even the whole congregation, to the wilderness of Zin in the first month, and the people abode in Kadesh, and Miriam died there and was buried there. And there was no water for the congregation, and they gathered themselves together against Moses and against Aaron. And the people chode with Moses and spake, saying, Would God that we had died when our brethren died before the Lord? And why have ye brought up the congregation of the Lord into this wilderness, that we and our cattle should die there? And wherefore have ye made us to come up out of Egypt, to bring us into this evil place? It is no place of seed, nor of figs, nor of vines, or of pomegranates, neither is there any water to drink. Keep in mind, God had been providing manna for them, but they start complaining. And keep in mind also that God had taken care of them up till this point. And obviously we understand that God takes care of them even in their complaining. But they forget the blessings that God has been giving them, and they're whining to Moses now. Verse 6, Moses and Aaron went from the presence of the assembly into the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, and they fell upon their faces, and the glory of the Lord appeared unto them. And the Lord spake to Moses, saying, Take the rod, and gather thou the assembly together, thou and Aaron thy brother, and speak ye unto the rock before their eyes, and it shall give forth his water. Understand, this rock that followed them was Christ. Remember that? We've talked about that. And notice here, this is the rock will give forth his water. And thou shalt bring forth to them water out of the rock, so thou shalt give the congregation and their beasts to drink. And Moses took the rod from before the Lord, as he commanded him. And Moses and Aaron gathered the congregation together before the rock, and he said unto them, Hear now, ye rebels, must we fetch water out of this rock? And Moses lifted up his hand, and with his rod he smote the rock twice. And the water came out abundantly, and the congregation drank, and their beasts also. Notice that he hit the rock. And the Lord spake unto Moses and Aaron, Because ye believed me not to sanctify me in the eyes of the children of Israel, therefore ye shall not bring this congregation into the land which I have given them. This is the water of Meribah, because the children of Israel strove with the Lord, and he was sanctified in them. So because of this sin that Moses did in not obeying the Lord fully or correctly, Moses is now banished and will not go to the promised land. Let's go to verses 23 through 29. This is the death of Aaron here. And the Lord spake unto Moses and Aaron in Mount Hor by the coast of the land of Edom, saying, Aaron shall be gathered to his people, for he shall not enter into the land which I have given unto the children of Israel, because ye rebelled against my word at the water Meribah. And Aaron said, And take Aaron and Eleazar his son, and bring them up to Mount Hor, and strip Aaron of his garments, and put them on Eleazar his son, and Aaron shall be gathered to his people, and shall die there. Where am I going? Verse 29. And Moses did as the Lord commanded, and they went up into Mount Hor into the sight of all the congregation, and Moses stripped Aaron of his garments, and put them on Eleazar his son, and Aaron died there in the top of the camp, and Moses and Eleazar came down from the mountain. And when all the congregation saw that Aaron was dead, they mourned for Aaron 30 days, even all the house of Israel. So we see here the death of Miriam, and now the death of Aaron, and Aaron died because of the sin of him and Moses in striking the rock. Now I want you to turn to Numbers chapter 27. Numbers 27, 12 through 14. And again, keep in mind, these events are leading up to Joshua taking full command and then leading the people into Jericho, across the Jordan River into Jericho, okay? And so we see here in Numbers chapter 27, verse 12, And the Lord said unto Moses, Get thee into this Mount Abiram, and see the land which I have given thee. Now, I will say, I wrote it down here somewhere. Where did I write that? So this Mount Abiram is also known as Mount Nebo, and it's also known as Mount Pisgah. Okay? So understand that as we go through this, I might use different terms, but it's the same mountain here. And I'm kind of jumping ahead, but I want us to point that out. Verse 13, and when thou seest it, let me start over here. And the Lord said to Moses, get thee up into this mount of Abiram. Lord help me, It's right there. I should be able to say the letters, right? Spell it out, but... And see the land which I have given unto the children of Israel, and when thou hast seen it, thou also shalt be gathered unto thy people, as Aaron thy brother was gathered. For you rebelled against my commandment in the desert of Zin, in the strife of the congregation, to sanctify me at the water before their eyes, that is, the water of Meribah in Kadesh, in the wilderness of Zin. Because you have done what you did, Moses, you're not going in. But God allows him to go up to the top of, I'm going to call it Mount Pisgah, and go up there, and when he goes up there, he's able to look to the east and see the land that God has promised his children. We'll talk more about that in a little bit, but I'm tying these events together, the death of Miriam and Aaron and Moses. All right? Now, after the events at Meribah, the Jews make several stops along the way as they slowly move towards the plain of Moab on the east side of the Jordan River. And again, there are several stops that I'm going to skip. The Hebrews are slowly moving toward entering the promised land. They come to the wilderness of Moab. Now, keep in mind, back to the map. I'm going back and forth here. So here's, I don't know how well you can see it here, but there's Mount Hor, which is the same mountain, Mount Pisgah, all that. And this is where Moses was able to go up and look into the wilderness. I don't know how tall this mountain was, actually. It didn't even occur to me to look up the elevation of that mountain until just right now. But they're on the edge of going into Edom. They're going to have to go through Edom and through Moab in order to cross the Jordan River to get to Jericho. So this is what we're getting ready to do. I'm going to go back to this other map here. Whoop. So here's the Dead Sea. So they're in this area here somewhere. They're getting ready to go in through Moab, through Edom, to be able to go to and cross the Jordan River to go into Jericho. All right? But again, I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but I'm just trying to get you this idea of what's happening here. Comments or questions before I move forward? Yes, Hillary.
On this map, there's a Mount Nebo like way at the top,
Okay.
which I know like right.
Yeah, it is hard to say exactly where all that is at. I will say, and again, maps, Bible maps in general aren't Google Maps. That's why I'm using the Google Earth here to kind of show us an overview. But to tell you exactly where Mount Hor was, or it's represented on the map or on the map I handed you. But is that exactly it? I can't verify the authenticity or the accuracy of just. But again, as I said, to try to find Bible maps for presentations in church is very hard because they either don't show what you want to see, or you have to buy them. People want to, which I'm fine with, if I have to, but it's like, I'd like to at least see it before I would buy it. But anyway, that being said, they make several stops. Again, all of them outlined in Numbers chapter 33. Now, I do want us to go to Deuteronomy chapter 2. So this is the journey from Kadesh to Moab. And this all takes place in this year that we're talking about, this 40th year. I'm going to probably read the whole chapter, well, through 25. I'll read fast. Do I need to go to 20? I may not need to read all that. Anyway, bear with me here. Deuteronomy chapter 2, verse 1. And we turned and took our journey into the wilderness by the way of the Red Sea, as the Lord spake unto me, and we compassed Mount Seir many days. And the Lord spake unto me, saying, Ye have compassed this mount long enough, turn you northward. and command that thou the people, saying, Ye are to pass through the coast of your brethren, the children of Esau, which dwell in Seir, and they shall be afraid of you. Take ye good heed unto yourselves, therefore. Meddle not with them, for I will not give you their land, no, not so much as a footbreadth, because I have given Mount Seir unto Esau for a possession. So they're just supposed to go through. They're not supposed to take anything of the land of Edom. They're just supposed to stay on the highway, so to speak. Don't even stop for gas. Just move forward. All right? Now it does say here, you shall buy meat for them, meat of them for money that you may eat, and you shall also buy water of them for money that you may drink. So you're not supposed to take anything, you're supposed to pay for it. For the Lord thy God hath blessed thee in all the works of thy hand. He knoweth thy walking through this great wilderness these 40 years. The Lord thy God hath been with thee. Thou hast lacked nothing. And that's true. And I don't know that we're going to read this, but there is a verse that says that their clothes never wore out. For the whole time they were in the wilderness, their clothes, their shoes never wear out. I don't know how the ladies were able to stay with the same pair of shoes, but maybe the Egyptians gave them so many shoes that they had plenty. I don't know. And verse 8. And when we passed by from our brethren, the children of Esau, which dwelt in Seir, through the way of the plain from Elath, and from Ezion-Geber, we turned and passed by the way of the wilderness of Moab. And the Lord said unto me, Distress not the Moabites, neither. Again, the Moabites lived north of the Edomites, so they're just going to go through. Now remember, who's the famous Moabite? Remember who was from Moab, in the line of Christ? No. Ruth. Ruth was a Moabitess. Anyway. Verse 9. And the Lord said unto me, Distress not the Moabites, neither contend with them in battle, for I will not give thee of their land for a possession, because I have given Ar to the children of Lot for a possession. And let's see here. Where else can I read here? I don't necessarily need to read all of that. I had it written down, but after looking at this in front of everybody, I don't think I need to. Don't need to read all that. Let's look at verse 14. Or 13. Now rise, said I, and get you over the brook Zered. And we went over the brook Zered. And the space in which we came from Kadesh Barnea until we were come to the brook Zered was 30 and 8 years, until all the generation of the men of war were wasted out from among the host, as the Lord sware unto them. So there's and I've got written down here, it's 1444 to 1406 BC is when this all happened. Now, again, the book says 1452, and I'm not for sure where I got this 1444, but I wrote it down in my Bible, but I'm presenting to you what I've read. So anyway, but there it says there that in 38 years, all these people are dying off. Verse 15, for indeed the hand of the Lord was against them to destroy them from among the host until they were consumed. So it came to pass when all the men of war were consumed and dead from among the people, that the Lord spake unto me, saying, Thou art to pass over through Ar, the coast of Moab, this day. And when thou comest nigh over against the children of Ammon, distress them not, nor meddle with them, for I will not give them the land of the children of Ammon any possession, because I have given it to the lot for a possession. So understand that they are just traveling through from the wilderness of Sin on the western side of the line from the Dead Sea down to the Gulf. They're just traveling through Moab and Edom to get to where they're going to camp to cross to go to Jericho. All right? Everybody okay? All right. God commands them to pass over the Arnon River, which is the boundary between Moab and Ammon. They camp at Arnon and never enter. I've got never enter Moab, but I don't think that's correct after reading that again. Because I think they do go through Moab to get to Arnon. I think I meant to say there they never camp in Moab. Nevertheless, Numbers chapter 21 through 25 outline a number of key events that took place along the way as they moved toward Canaan. Again, I'm not going to cover all those. We get to Numbers 26, and God commands Moses to take a census of the people 20 years old and older. So we've got a new generation of people that are 20 years old and older at this point. And so at Numbers chapter 26, we will read about this census that Moses takes by the command of God. Numbers chapter 26, verse 1. And it came to pass after the plague that the Lord spake unto Moses and Eleazar the son of Aaron the priest, saying, Take the sum of all the congregation of the children of Israel from 20 years old and upward throughout their father's house, all that are able to go to war in Israel. So these are the men able to go to war, but 20 years old and older. And Moses and Eleazar the priest spake with them, and in the plain of Moab by Jordan near Jericho, saying, Take the sum of the people from 20 years old and upward, as the Lord commanded Moses, and the children of Israel, which went forth out of the land of Egypt. And then it gives an accounting of each of the tribes and how many there were. And if you skip down to verse 51, we read here, These were the number of the children of Israel, 600,000 and 1,730. So 601,730 men of war, 20 years old and older, are counted in this census. So, again, keep in mind, nearly to this point, everybody that was 20 years old and older when they left Egypt are now dead. And now this is a new generation, some of whom never even crossed the Red Sea. They were born in the wilderness on the eastern side of the Red Sea. They never even were there to cross it. Some were, but not all of them. All right? They've all been born out in this wandering for 30 some odd years. Let's see. The census did not include the Levites. Let's just look at Numbers chapter 26, 64, and 65. But among these there were not a man of whom Moses and Aaron the priests numbered when they numbered the children of Israel in the wilderness of Sinai. For the Lord had said of them, They shall surely die in the wilderness, and there was not a man left of them, save Caleb the son of Jephunneh and Joshua the son of Nun. And I have excluded them, I haven't mentioned them, but they are the two of the older generation that were allowed to go in. And we're familiar with them. They're the ones that had the good report that they could take the land some 38 years ago. All right, everybody okay? All right. We're doing all right on time. Yeah, some of them, I'm sure. And there were times throughout this time frame where God would kill thousands of them because of their rebellion or because of their grumbling. Korah, there was a man named Korah that led a revolt. They were all going to pack up and go back. And God opened the earth and they swallowed up. I don't know how many. I think the scripture tells us, but off the top of my head, I don't know how many. And so there were times throughout this that when the people would rebel, God would just wipe out thousands of them. So, and then it makes you wonder, well, why didn't God just do them all at once and then just move them in? I mean, the Lord works how He wants. So, and again, though, in the wandering, God is showing grace and mercy. He's providing for these folks. And just because the Lord's in it doesn't mean it's going to be easy. And that... Yeah. But it puts some... I guess it puts some... Yeah. I think last month we figured how many people were a day average, but I don't remember what it was. Hundreds of people were dying every day. And, I mean, I don't know if they carried them with them, if they buried them in the wilderness. I don't know, but hundreds of people were dying every day. By average, I'm sure, you know what I'm saying. Because if God's killing thousands in one swoop, sometimes, might skew the average per day, but you understand what I'm saying. Yeah, get those shoes. Yeah. All right, after the census, God tells Moses he will die, and Moses dedicates Joshua to become his successor. Let's go to chapter 27. I want to read 12 through 23. So we've got all this work done. Now we're getting close to the time that God is going to take Moses, and Joshua is going to take over. Now we don't have a whole lot from here, but we'll cover this. Numbers 27:12. And the Lord said to Moses, Get thee up to the mount. There it is again. And I think I've already read that, haven't I? Yeah, I already read that. I had that down there twice. Oh, I didn't. Okay, we read to 14. Let's go from 15 down to 23. Numbers chapter 27, 15 through 23. And Moses spake unto the Lord, saying, Let the Lord, the God of the spirits of all flesh, set a man over the congregation, which may go out before them, which may go in before them, and which may lead them out, and which may bring them in, and the congregation of the Lord be not as sheep which have no shepherd. And the Lord said to Moses, Take thee Joshua the son of Nun, a man in whom is the Spirit, and lay thine hand upon him, and set him before Eleazar the priest, and before all the congregation, and give him a charge in their sight. So Moses is supposed to dedicate Joshua for this work in front of everybody. And thou shalt put some of thine honor upon him, that all the congregation of the children of Israel may be obedient. And he shall stand before Eleazar the priest, who shall ask counsel of him after the judgment of the Urim before the Lord. And his word shall they go out, and at his word they shall come in, both he and all the children of Israel with him, even all the congregation. And Moses did as the Lord commanded him, and he took Joshua and set him before Eleazar the priest, and before all the congregation, and he laid his hands upon him, and gave him a charge as the Lord commanded by the hand of Moses. So now Joshua is going to take command once Moses dies here in just a few moments. We are now into the time frame that we are going to go into the promised land. Go to Numbers chapter 33. I'm not going to read it all. I'm just going to read a couple verses. God gives specific instructions to Joshua. Well, I will say to Joshua, but to Moses. Now, we will see the way this is going in a few months that Joshua does not obey this command fully, and that's why we have problems in the Mideast today. Nevertheless, I'm jumping ahead. So, Numbers chapter 33, beginning in verse 50. And the Lord spake unto Moses in the plains of Moab by Jordan, near Jericho, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, When ye are passed over Jordan into the land of Canaan, then ye shall drive out all the inhabitants of the land from before you, and destroy all their pictures, and destroy all their molten images, and quite pluck down all of their high places. And ye shall dispossess the inhabitants of the land, and dwell therein, for I have given you the land to possess it. When you go in, tear down all of their false gods, all of their places of worship, tear down and destroy. Drive them out. Get rid of them, the people even. Kill them all. Now, that sounds harsh, but God knows what He's doing, and I won't question God. We may wonder why, but if this is what God wants, then this is what God wants. And again, unfortunately, Joshua does not obey this fully and causes problems for him and others in future years. But it says there, pluck down their high places, get rid of them. Verse 54, And ye shall divide the land by lot for an inheritance among your families, and to the more ye shall give more inheritance, and to the fewer ye shall give less inheritance. Every man's inheritance shall be in the place where his lot falls, according to the tribes of you, your fathers, ye shall inherit. But if you will not drive out the inhabitants of the land from before you, then it shall come to pass that those which ye let remain of them shall be pricks in your eyes and thorns in your sides, and shall vex you in the land wherein ye dwell. Moreover, it shall come to pass that I shall do unto you as I thought to do unto them. This is a curse. This is a warning that God gave to Moses and Joshua. Drive them out. If you don't, you're going to have problems. And again, here we are, 2025. There's still problems because of the disobedience in some ways of Joshua. All right. We're going to have Moses die, and then I'm going to be done. I want to get Moses killed here. That was my goal tonight, was to kill Moses. So we're almost there. I know that sounds bad, but you know what I mean, I think. Anyway. Huh? All right. In the 12th month of the year, Moses left the plain of Moab and climbed Mount Nebo, also known as Mount Pisgah and Mount Abarim. Hey, I got it that time. Abarim. I'm about done. This is the country of Abarim, which is Jordan today. This is on the eastern side of the Jordan River. From the top of Nebo, Moses beheld all the land of the promise and then died at the age of 120. So again, not knowing exactly, but somewhere, I don't know if that's going to focus or not. Somewhere in this is the Dead Sea. Here's Jerusalem. Jericho would be somewhere right in here. Oh, there it is, right there. So they're camped on the eastern side of the Jordan River in this area, and Moses climbs the mountain, which again, the paper map is probably not accurate. Climbs the mountain, looks over, which we've already read about, and then he's going to die here on Mount Pisgah. But this is where they are camped, and this is where they will then cross the Jordan River to go to Jericho, which we will talk about next month. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 32. And we will be done very, very soon here. Deuteronomy 32, 48 through 52. Deuteronomy 32, 48. And the Lord spake unto Moses that selfsame day, saying, Get thee up into this mount. I can't say it again. When I see it, my mind says Abraham, but I know that's not right. Abiram, unto Mount Nebo, which is in the land of Moab, that is over against Jericho, and behold the land of Canaan, which I give to the children of Israel for possession. Keep in mind, I want to refer back to 38 years prior. And as I said last month, when they were at Kadesh Barnea, their land that God had promised was right there. Just right there. And they didn't believe. So this has cost them decades. All right? Moses could have entered. The people could have entered. All because they didn't believe God. Here we are. And again, the same way with Noah. Moses, the one time that we see that he didn't believe God and he struck the rock, he's not going to go in. Anyway. Verse 50, and die in the mount whither thou goest up, and be gathered into thy people, as Aaron thy brother died in Mount Or, and was gathered into his people. Because ye trespassed against me, the children of Israel, at the waters of Meribah Kadesh, and the wilderness of Zin, because ye sanctified me not in the midst of the children of Israel. Yet thou shalt see the land before thee, but thou shalt not go thither into the land which I give to the children of Israel. I want you to go to chapter 34, verse 1. And Moses went up from the plains of Moab into the Mount Nebo to the top of Pisgah. So see, here's all the names. That is over against Jericho. And the Lord showed him all the land of Gilead into Dan. So all the way to the north. Now again, I did not look up. I wished I would have seen how the elevation of this mount was. But apparently he could see all the way to northern Israel from this area. Which I'm going to guess is some 60 or 80 miles. Which I guess there are places in America, you can get on tops of mountains and see that far. So it's not out of the realm of possibility. So I'm going to take this literal, that Moses, when he got up there, he could see all the way from northern Israel, all the way down to southern Israel. 7,400. Okay, so a mile and a half-ish. So, and keep in mind, that was some mountainous area, but there was a lot of plains through that area too. So it was not out of the realm of possibility being that high to be able to see that. But anyway, where am I at here? Verse 2. And all Naphtali and the land of Ephraim and Manasseh and all the land of Judah and the uttermost sea, that's the Mediterranean, and the south and the plain of the valley of Jericho and the city and the palm trees of Zoar. And the Lord said unto him, This is the land which I swear unto Abraham and to Isaac and to Jacob, saying, I will give it unto thy seed. I have caused thee to see it with thine eyes, but thou shalt not go over thither. So Moses, the servant of the Lord, died there in the land of Moab, according to the word of the Lord. God moved Moses' body from this place where he died to a valley in the land of Moab and buried him there. And Israel mourns for 30 days. Let's read verse 5. So Moses, the servant of the Lord, died there in the land of Moab, according to the word of the Lord. And he, talking about God, buried him in a valley in the land of Moab, over against Beth Peor. But no man knoweth of this sepulchre unto this day. I wonder if there's a tourist attraction now that says this is where Moses was buried, And Moses was 120 years old when he died. His eye was not dim, nor his natural force abated. Moses was just as strong at 120 as he was at 80, as he was at 40, as he was at 20. That's amazing. The Lord blessed Moses, but the Lord also required of Moses of his life because he disobeyed. Verse 8, and the children of Israel wept for Moses in the plains of Moab 30 days, so the days of the weeping and mourning of Moses were ended. And Joshua the son of Nun was full of the spirit of the wisdom of Moses. He had laid hands on him, and the children of Israel hearkened unto him, and did as the Lord commanded Moses. And there arose not a prophet since in Israel like unto Moses, whom the Lord knew face to face. In all the signs and the wonders which the Lord sent him to do in the land of Egypt to Pharaoh and to all his servants in his land, and in all that mighty hand, and in all the great terror which Moses showed in the sight of all Israel. So Moses is buried in the land of Moab. According to Scripture, no one knows where it was at, but the Lord buried him. Israel mourns 30 days, and they're going to get ready and pack up and cross the Jordan River into Jericho, which we will talk about next month. This ends the Pentateuch, or the first 5 books of Moses. It contains a history of the first 2,552 years of the world. The book of Joshua begins with the 41st year after the departure from Egypt. Next month, we will enter the promised land. Praise the Lord. Comments or questions? I don't feel like I think I was back and forth, which when I wrote this out, I did seem like I was jumping back and forth, but when you read it out loud in front of everybody, well, it's like, yeah, you are, but it's a big difference standing up here and reading it to you as opposed to sitting all by myself. Yes, Kay.